If you ask yourself, why am I here? What is my purpose? How can I fulfill my potential? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Lifestyle, Relationships, and Career Human Design Podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa Naja from vanessanaja.com. My mission is to help you be on purpose and fulfill your potential by aligning in body, mind, and spirit so you can feel empowered, joyful, connected, and free. I'm so excited to share with you how to do that through human design. If it feels aligned, I'd love it if you subscribe and share. Now let's get to the episode. It's always a good idea to have your human design chart with you when listening. You can get yours for free at my website, vanessanaja.com/free chart. Link is in the show notes.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 24, where we're going to be talking all about willpower, ego, and heart in human design. So this episode is about the will center, also sometimes known as the ego center or the heart. And it's the smallest triangle in the chart, which is very deceiving because this is an incredibly powerful center. It is towards the right side of the chart, and it's next to and slightly down from the diamond shape in the middle of the chart, which is the G center. And we talked about that one last week. So the will center in human design governs self-esteem, confidence, self-worth, willpower, and the material world, and is an area where we are able to really gain mastery over the material world. And yes, I am talking about money and material resources. The willpower is a motor. It's a very powerful motor, and motors in human design are centers that push energy, move energy throughout the chart. This is the motor of willpower, and it's really important for the center, regardless of how you have it configured. It's important to balance work and rest. Now, the way the will center is configured is going to give you some information, as always, of how this energy may show up in your life. So 37% of people have this center defined, meaning they have consistent access to this energy. And you'll know that's you because it will be colored in your chart. And the remainder, 63% of the population, are going to have the center undefined, meaning it is white in your chart. Now, this center is actually one of the biggest conditioning forces on the planet. So you want to be really aware of what's going on here. And remember, it doesn't matter. Having a center defined or undefined is neither good nor bad. They are just different. How your personal will center is configured is just how you are expressing it and experiencing it in this lifetime. If it's defined, this is consistent energy for you. This is your nature. This is what you broadcast out into the world. And if it is undefined, this is nurture for you. This is where you take this energy in for others. You are more likely to be conditioned when you have this undefined in this particular center. Then you just want to be really present and aware of how this is operating. So when you have this center defined, 37% of the population, there's always this spectrum of experiencing and expressing this energy in a low expression or a high expression, in an unhealthy way to a healthy way. And when this center is defined and expressing in a healthy way, you are going to have really consistent self-esteem, self-worth. You're able to make and keep promises and bargains. You have a healthy balance between work and rest. So the will center, it is really important. We can get into the sense of really overusing our willpower and forcing our way through things and using it in a way that's unsustainable. Finding that happy balance between using your willpower in a way that feels good to you and then resting is super, super important. People with a defined will tend to actually really like to work. Again, you want to be careful of overworking. They like to prove themselves, which is actually healthy for them to do, as long as you're following strategy and authority on what you're working on and how you're proving yourself. This is really valuable energy. You do, and I have already said this. So the willpower, whether it's defined or undefined, this is an area that can suffer from massive burnout. So it can happen faster with an undefined will, but even with a defined will, if you are using your willpower in a way that is not sustainable, and the center does have a lot to do with sustainability, you can really, really burn out. So remember, the solution is always to come back to using your strategy and authority about what to engage in, when it's time to work, when it's time to rest, and really listening to timing. When this center is defined in its low expression, this is going to have can have a really overinflated sense of self. Like these are the egomaniacs that are very bombastic. And it can also show up in the opposite extreme of self-loathing and just really consistent low self-worth. So it's definitely a big, big spectrum here of how this can show up in an unhealthy way. This can also really put pressure on other people. Willpower can have tremendous pressure when you have this defined on people that have it undefined. You can have really unrealistic expectations of other people. People can feel pretty uncomfortable if you're pressuring them in this unhealthy way. Like, it can be really forceful, pushing energy that just feels out of alignment. And when you are operating in that way, you're going to experience a ton of resistance. And it also is prone to really overworking and not allowing itself to have the rest that it needs. So remember, willpower, self-worth, they are both governed by this. So if you're in that place of low self-worth and you feel you need to prove yourself by working super, super hard, not giving yourself permission to rest, not giving yourself permission to play, that is definitely the low expression of the will center, because you have the willpower to push through. And when you've done that, then it is time to rest. Now, the undefined willpower, which is a significantly larger percentage of the population at 63%, this can show up as in this low expression, trying to prove yourself, feeling the need to compete, entering into things because you think that engaging in these things is going to prove your value versus following your strategy and authority and actually doing things that you love that feel good to you. You can really overcompensate in this area. This can also show up as just feeling like you need to get all kinds of certificates and accolades, and like you need to accomplish things that are going to prove your value to other people. Um, and you can also experience like really taking on the pressure of other people with defined willpowers, like really taking on that pressure, and then trying to use willpower that you're borrowing from others to push through things, which can lead to massive burnout. And remember, undefined centers are taking in and amplifying the energy from people with a defined center. So if you're in the presence of somebody with defined willpower and you just feel like you can push through all this and you just have all of this, like you're just pushing through and using that borrowed energy that's not your own in a way that is unhealthy for you and not aligned with what you are meant to be doing in life, this can lead to massive, massive burnout. So it's something to really be aware of. Also, with the will center, and this kind of goes for both defined and undefined, it can show up differently in different areas. So, for example, you may feel really valued and have high self-esteem in your relationships, but not in work. Or conversely, like you really feel great about your work, have high self-esteem there, but you don't feel very valuable in your relationships. So, just noticing how this shows up for you in your life, whether it's defined or undefined, is a really great practice to start deconditioning the will center. Also with the undefined, this whole thing about proving your value and then not giving yourself permission to rest, trying to like power through. And again, this can lead to massive burnout. So you do need to really find that balance between work and rest. And any open center is a place where, as you move through the deconditioning process, you're able to gain a tremendous amount of wisdom. And in the willpower, that wisdom, if you're taking on this energy from other people, you are experiencing how other people experience this in their high and low expression. And you become really wise about what is actually valuable. You know you have nothing to prove. You are also able to tell when other people are in or out of integrity. You'll be able to see who can and can't keep their promises, like who you can trust to actually make agreements with, who you can trust to keep their promises and who you cannot. And yeah, so the goal is following your strategy and your authority. The goal, fine. Following your strategy and authority to know what to engage in, to be really wise about the fact that you don't have anything to prove, to make sure the things that you're doing because you love them, because they light you up, not because you think that they will give you more value or make other people see you as more valuable, is really important here. And I will share an experience. So I have a defined willpower, and I'm getting better about this. However, I have often used this to really push and force the things that I think want to happen or the things that I think I need to create out in the world. And it's interesting because, like, okay, I really want this to happen. I'm going to make this happen. I feel resistance. I'm not enjoying it. I'm forcing and pushing way through to get this thing out there without following strategy and authority. And usually it doesn't work out. Like, it's not how it's supposed to happen. So it's something I've become a lot more aware of through my process of deconditioning. So it's something to really pay attention to in yourself as well. All right. That is it for the Will Center and Human Design. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your time. And I hope that this information is going to help you understand yourself better, help you know that you absolutely have nothing to prove if this center is undefined, help you understand the best way to use your willpower if the center is defined, and just overall make a difference in your life, because that is my goal here. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.
If you want to dive deeper, I invite you to get a free human design mini reading report at vanessanaja.com/free mini reading, or book a human design reading with me. Links are in the show notes. That's it for today's episode. I know your time is important, and I'm so grateful you chose to spend it with me. It would mean the world to me if you engage with the episode by liking, subscribing, commenting, and letting me know any questions you have or what else you'd like to learn about. And the absolute best compliment is if you share with someone you think will benefit. It really helps me spread the message. Love and blessings to you. If you want to dive deeper, I invite you to get a free human design mini reading report at vanessanaja.com/free mini reading, or book a human design reading with me. Links are in the show notes. That's it for today's episode. I know your time is important, and I'm so grateful you chose to spend it with me. It would mean the world to me if you engage with the episode by liking, subscribing, commenting, and letting me know any questions you have or what else you'd like to learn about. And the absolute best compliment is if you share with someone you think will benefit. It really helps me spread the message. Love and blessings to you.